Located in the North Island of New Zealand, this underground grotto is home to one of the most captivating sights in the entire world, the Waitomo Glowworms. Upon entering the Waitomo Caves, you are greeted by numerous stalactites, hanging from the ceiling of the cave, like wax structures tapering towards their sharp points in mid-air. But these are only limestone structures that have developed over the years in the cave. However, the stalactites are not the main attraction here. On the roof of the Waitomo Caves are a series of twinkling light shows, a reflection of the intriguing glowworms, present in their thousands, living in the caves. These shiny little organisms light up the water below, on the floor of the cave, reflecting their luminescence on the cave's roof. To understand how the Waitomo Caves were formed, you would have to go back some 30 million years ago, long before humanity came into existence, during the Oligocene period, when a combination of several natural phenomena gave rise to the caves, as we know them today. Today, the limestone features of the Waitomo Caves can be clearly observed, and they give us a clear picture of how the caves must have formed. Over millions of years, marine fossils were collected on the ocean's seabed. And with compounding pressure, these fossils hardened over time, to form sedimentary rocks under the seabed. But as tectonic activities pushed the land we know today as New Zealand out of the sea, these sedimentary rocks rose with it. For the past 1 million years, these sedimentary rocks have been exposed to rainwater, an exposure that has led to the gradual breakdown of the rocks, creating the large cracks that we know today as the Waitomo Caves. The Waitomo Caves may never have been discovered, but for the duo obtained Tainarau, a Maori chief, and Fred Mace, a British surveyor. Back in 1887, the pair had begun an exploration of the subterranean network of caves in the Waitomo region, after successfully setting up a sturdy raft, made from robust flax stems. As the Maori chief and the British surveyor glided through the dark, echoic caves of Waitomo, they were stunned by the beautiful lights created by the glowworms. After stumbling on this fascinating discovery, Tainarau and Mace embarked on further expeditions into the Waitomo Caves, further uncovering several secret chambers and alternative entry points, as they sought to map out the network of subterranean caves in the region. Realizing that their discovery could become a source of income, they decided to open the caves to visitors back in the late 19th century, charging a small fee to escort the visitors through the labyrinth of underground caves. The government took responsibility for the administration of the caves in 1960. However, in 1989, the administration of the caves was handed back to the descendants of the Maori chief. Today, the Waitomo Caves are protected and closely monitored by a scientific advisory group, whose primary responsibility is to ensure that the ecosystem of the site is protected and preserved. Each cavity in the cave is specially named, reflecting their size, beauty, and the awe-inspiring effect that they have on the thousands of visitors that come to the caves every year. In line with the mandate to protect and preserve the caves, guests are not allowed to touch the caves with their hands. A prominent feature of the caves is the limestone formation of stalactites and stalagmites. These features take centuries to form. Touching them could result in their destruction and discoloration, undoing nature's work of hundreds of years. Still, in line with the measures taken to preserve the site, smoking is strictly prohibited within the caves, as is the taking of unauthorized pictures in certain locations. The reason for the prohibition of pictures is that flash photography is not good for insects, and so, to preserve the suitability of this habitat for the glowworms, taking pictures inside the caves is not allowed. You'd have to rely on your memory to relive the stunning light display of the glowworms. The Waitomo Caves have been transformed into a proper tourist center, with a modern contemporary visitors center, located near the entrance of the cave. The visitors center contains a lovely restaurant, a nice gift shop, and a theater/exhibition space for the visitors. As we have said before, the main attraction at the Waitomo Caves is the glowworms. But what are they? Glowworms are the larvae of a species of gnats, scientifically known as Arachnicompa luminosa. This species of gnats is unique to New Zealand. The scientific name of the gnat pretty much describes the most striking characteristic of the insect. The prefix arachno, related to arachnid, describes the spider-like nature of the insect. The root word kampa is translated to mean larva, while the second word, luminosa, refers to something that produces light. And so, when we put the words together, they can be translated as the spider-like larva that produces light. Interesting, isn't it? Unfortunately, the worms don't look anything like the beauty they display. In fact, without the light emanating from their bodies, these worms look just like maggots. It's pretty disappointing when you realize this, so it's better to forget what they look like, and just enjoy the lovely light display that they produce. But how and why do these worms glow in the first place? The light you see coming from the glowworm is actually produced in the glowworm's tail. The tail of the glowworm is bioluminescent, which means that it naturally produces light. But these worms are not interested in giving you a show, far from it. The primary reason they glow is to find food. From their tails, the glowworms secrete a special chemical that reacts with the oxygen in the air to produce light. As the light is produced, the glowworm's prey are attracted to it, and as their prey rush towards the light, they are caught by the sticky threads that the glowworms have spun from the roof of the cave. This is the reason for the comparison of the worm to a spider-like behavior, as reflected in its scientific name. Glowworms are carnivores. They eat small insects like flies and mosquitoes. Yet, as spectacular as their hunting method is, these worms can go for weeks without food. The dark, damp, and sheltered nature of the Waitomo Caves make it a perfect environment for the glowworms to survive. The darkness in the caves allows the light of the glowworms to shine brightly, effectively attracting their prey. Also, the sheltered nature of the cave means that there is no wind to dry out or blow away the sticky threads that have been spun by the worms. And, of course, the Waitomo River, which flows through the caves, brings with it lots of insects for the glowworms to feed on. With such a perfect habitat, it's no wonder that these glowworms, as far as we know, have lived in this cave for over 100 years, and possibly even more. Knowing that these glowworms are only in the larva stage of their growth phase, you might be wondering where the adult gnat flies are. Well, that takes us to a really depressing story about these insects. These worms spend the first 10 months of their existence as eggs, and then the eggs hatch into the juvenile larva, which is what we know as the glowworms. In the next stage of their metamorphosis, the worms become cocoons, in preparation for their adult stage. Eventually, the adult gnat wiggles its way out of the cocoon and begins to live its incredibly short and limited life. So, tell us, would you love to visit the Waitomo Caves to see the stunning light display of glowworms for yourself? Also, let us know what you think about the Waitomo Caves and tell us which of the facts we have discussed fascinates you the most. Put down your thoughts in the comments section below, and see you in our next video.